Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, DotNet-Dev-Journey with Jacob. In my previous video, I spoke about Serverlog and how to implement it in our program or application. And today, I'm going to be discussing about dependency injection. This is a concept that most junior devs uses, but they really don't understand it properly or deeply. And I'll just give a brief explanation on dependency injection, and then I'm going to implement dependency injection using this simple banking application that I've been working on, and we'll see how it works together. So dependency injection in .NET is a built-in framework that helps to achieve inversion of control. But beyond the framework, it is a design pattern, that uses a container to inject the dependencies or services that are needed into the class that needs them. So let's conceptualize it better. Let's assume we have a box. So dependency injection is really like a container where all the whole objects and services are registered in. And the container has a mechanism, an internal mechanism that maps dependencies to the classes or objects that need them. And there are two major roles in achieving this. The first role, I term it dependence. Say the first one, dependence. And dependents are simply classes, objects, or services that needs another service to carry out its function or to execute its function. So we assume we have a car that has been built, but a car will not be able to move itself except or unless the tires has been fixed. If we don't fix the tires, yes, the car might move, but it might not work as efficiently as it's supposed to work. It might not move as fast as it's supposed to move, and it might even cause a damage to the car itself. So a car needs the tire to be able to move. I hope we are getting these concepts now. Then the second rule is the rule of the dependencies. Dependencies or dependency. This rule is the role of the services that are needed. This dependency takes the role of the services that are needed by the dependent. So the dependent requires service or services, requires some certain service or services to carry out its function, and these are the needed. Oh, sorry, let me use needed services. So I hope we understand this now. This requires a service or services Dependency is the needed service or the needed services. So now that we fully understand what this simply means, now in dependency injection, I said earlier that it uses a container like a box that maps and injects the needed dependencies to the classes or object that needs those dependencies. But there's one major thing that we also need to know. There's something called lifetime. Lifetime means the measure of how long an instance or a service will last for. And we have three levels of instance lifetime or service lifetime. So we have the singleton, we have the scoped, and we have the transient. Lifetime. So one, we have the singleton. Two, we have the scoped. And three, we have the transient. And what does this mean? Singleton means one instance of this service that will span across the entire lifetime of the application. One instance of that service, but will last for the entire lifetime of the application. So as far as the application is still running, the singleton service applies, is alive, is active. The scoped lifetime is like one per request. So once an instance of the scoped lifetime is created, once a service of a scoped lifetime is created, this only works for requests, like one per request. Okay, I give an example. Let's say we have a company, an organization that has two or three, meeting rooms or conference rooms where meetings can be held. If peradventure some group of people will be meeting to use the conference room A. So we have conference room A, B, C. So if there's going to be a meeting in the conference room A, everyone involved in that meeting will be in that conference room A, and the conference room will be busy, will be used. If there's going to be another meeting that will involve another group of people, then they will probably use another meeting room. So it's like one service or a service per request. Then we have the transient. Transient means that it is created at every time. Like every time it is needed, it is created. And most times this is used for lightweight stateless helpers. Stateless helpers in the sense that they do not hold data, neither do they change the state of any object. So these are used for services that do not hold data and do not really change the state of any object. Scoped are used for services that change changes the states of an object or that holds data. It changes the state of an object or it holds data. Singleton are probably used for infrastructures, persistence, DBs, network, stuff like that. That's what Singleton is majorly used for. And having said this, there's one major thing that also needs to be covered, and that's the advantage. Oh, two major things. I'm going to speak about the first one, which is where the data, the dependency injection is built, like the 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 source, the major stronghold, the sitting position of dependency injection setup. Majorly, it is set up at the boundary of the application, which is usually the project CS. And where this is done is usually referred to as composition root, the composition root. So this is where because a good program internally uses abstraction, but while setting up the dependency injection, the composition root is where the actual implementation is selected, and sometimes it is called the um, object graph, which involves all the objects in the program, how um, they are related and connected, and how how the dependencies are wired. So the composition root is where the actual implementation is selected, where where they are also wired, where the dependencies are wired together. This is what is referred to as the composition root or the object graph. Now, we go to the advantage of what are the advantages of dependency injection? Number one, it helps to achieve loose coupling, which is going to um, help us achieve easy testing, efficient testing. Because when we have loose coupling, then we'll be able to test in isolation and we'll be able to swap implementations without changing the actual business logic. Another advantage is that it provides better scalability. It enhances scalability. The program will be able to scale without no issue, without having any issue. Then it will be easier to use mock, to test these services in isolation. And it helps us to design a program that is maintainable, that can be easily maintained. These are some of the advantages of using and working with dependency injection. So having said that, I'm going to quickly take us on a practical implementation of this. Although I've changed a lot of things, refactored a lot of things in my simple banking application. As you can see, I'm trying to tidy up the presentation layer because before now, my program.cs is my presentation is aware of my infrastructure, which should not be. The presentation should not know the infrastructure, what it looks like. The infrastructure and all the business logic are supposed to be done, by the application or in the application layer, not in the presentation layer. The presentation layer is just to call on the application layer to do whatever it needs to do. So, and I've been trying to, refactor my code to be able to get that properly. But that's not where we're going. So let's get in on the business. Although I've installed the framework, the package that we'll be needing for this, which is a Microsoft's extension dependency injection. So, but for you see, it's installed already. But for you, if you don't have this package installed, what you do is you go to your terminal or your PowerShell, then you can do .NET hard package, then Microsoft extension dependency injection, .NET hard package. Then you run that command. Is going to install this package into your project, into your solution. And then from here, let's go back to this place. So we want to say the service is equals to new service collection. Then we also want to set up our DB connection. So we are saying, okay, let me use this file connection equals new file connection. So the next thing we want to do is we want to register all our services inside a container. And now, don't forget I said it is best to use Singleton for anything infrastructure, things that are supposed to span or last for the entire lifespan of the application. So we are saying service dot add Singleton. So we are adding file connection. We are also adding what else are we adding? I'm not sure this is supposed to be this way. I think it's supposed to be oh, am I missing something? Okay. Another thing we are going to be adding is the high logger. So here we are doing high logger logger. Then another thing we are doing is we are doing service add Singleton as well. So we are doing I generates is it generates okay. I generate account number and that will be GUID account number. So these are the three major service that we need. And There is one other thing that we need. Okay, so now let's do for all the services we are doing at, we can do scoped, but I want to use transient. So I account, no, I'm doing for infrastructure first. And infrastructure has to go with customer repository, and this is file customer repository. Account repository. This is supposed to be transaction repository. File transaction repository. This is supposed to be Singleton. Don't forget, this is infrastructure persistence. So we are changing. We are going to be using the transient for the service, like account opening service, stuff like that. Singleton. Then we'll go with now accounts opening service, account operation service. We'll go with query service. We'll go with customer profile service. There's one more, account opening service, account operation service, customer profile service, account. There is one more thing. Yeah, account status service. Yes, but this is going to be transient, not Singleton. So let's change this. Transient. You can also use scoped. And one more thing is that a service of a higher lifetime span can depend on a service of the same lifetime span or below. But a service of a shorter lifetime span cannot depend on a service of a longer lifetime span. Or how do I put it now? Yes, a service of a shorter lifetime span cannot depend on a service of a longer lifetime span. Or is that the correct way to put it? Oh, I think I'm mixing it up. Okay, now I mean to say a service of a longer lifetime span cannot depend on the service of a shorter lifetime span because the service of the shorter lifetime span would have expired even before the execution, the final execution of the service with a long time span. because the long time span is the dependence, while the short time span is the dependency. So if a long time span needs a shorter one to function, then probably we might run into an error. So we need to be careful when dealing with stuffs like this. So I believe I've been able to explain that part better. So it means that a singleton cannot depend on a transient, but a transient can depend on a singleton. So I want to quickly make sure I settle all this. So the account repository is done. This is settled. What else needs to be done? I think that should be all. So we have the service provider equals service dot. So now we are building the container. We have registered all this, but now we are building the container. And the next thing we want to do is we want to load our repos. We want to say service provider dot get service. So which service are we getting? We are getting the service of I customer repo. I customer, no, not I customer provide service. I customer repository. So we are saying dot load so that we can fetch the data back into the in-memory. Then we want to do the same here for this. So let me just copy and paste this. So we are saying this is account repo. And here we are saying file repo. No, transaction repo, sorry. Transaction repository. So now that we've done this, another thing we want to do is that I want to put this into another class. I want to copy all this into another class. I think I'm having an issue here. iFile connection. Connection. Yeah, I shouldn't use it like a type. Because file connection is actually the type. So I'm going to add this. Okay, let's Let's try something first. Let me do this. Let me say file connection. Okay, let me do this. Let me leave it this way for now. And here, I'm going to do something. I want to copy this. Then let me comment this out. So here I want to create another class called iBankApp. So I will make this public. And here we want to create a class saying a method rather saying public void run. And we are going to implement that class here in the presentation layer. So I want to implement bank app. So what bank app is doing is bank app will be implementing iBank app. So and it's going to be taking some arguments in here. Before I do that, let me do this. And let me copy that which I copied from the program class. So I'm putting it here. And here I want to load in some arguments here. I want to use primary constructor. And I want to say hi account opening service. Account opening service. Then hi account the operation service now or query service. Okay. Operation service, comma, I account query service, account query service, then I account status service, then the last one, I customer profile service, customer profile service. Yeah. So down here, I want to do something like this. So I want to say private read only, I account service. So I account service equals this. So I'm repeating it for every other one here. I account, it should be I account status service first, then I account customer profile. Yes. So now I'm going to come here and change this. So we are using this. I hope you guys understand. So I use the primary constructor for dependency inversion. or injection. So there's one thing I also want to state here. There are different methods of injecting dependencies into a class or into another service. And there are three types. We have the constructor injection, we have the method injection, and the property injection. But for one reason or the other, the constructor injection rather, is the most commonly used um, injection method. So I would like you to drop in the comment section, what do you think? Why do you think constructor injection is the most popular, most commonly used, most widely used injection method? Drop that in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts, and I will give you my feedback as to that as well. So let's learn together. Don't forget, I'm also learning while doing this. So let's quickly wrap this up. Now, let's go back to the program, and there is something that we should do at a stage, and that is adding service, add, this is Transient, not Singleton. Transient. So yeah, this is what we want to do here. So, and down here we are coming to say variable app is equals to get service, and we are saying app.run dot run. So let's run this. So what we've done here is we created a service collection variable, and we registered all our objects, all our services into it. Then we use that to build a container. And now we are mapping, we are getting the services we need from that container. And here we are getting the customer repository, and we are loading our data from the file into the in memory, which is the list. The same goes for these three. And here we are instantiating the high bank interface, and we are calling on the run method of that interface, which is app.run. So let's run this program now, and let's see if it's able to work. Fingers crossed. I hope it does work without no error. Yeah. So let's try, and let's say Abel, and we say Damina, and here we're saying 1970 and September 21st, and here we are saying Abel at yahoo.com, and here we want to say open a current account. And as you can see, current account opened. So we want to say kindly deposit into this account. One deposit £300, and it's saying, oh, deposit transaction successful. So we want to make a withdrawal, and we are saying we want to withdraw, okay, the account number first. Oops. Let me copy the account number again. And then here I'm withdrawing £100 and saying, oh, withdraw transaction successful. So now let's check the balance. And we've got 200. We deposited 300. We drew 100 and our balance is left with 200. So let's see if this really works or worked in a if what we've done just now, if it's actually working. So I want us to go to the customer so that we can see the last customer we added, Abel Damina. We can see persisted to our file. And here's the account number. Let's look at the account itself. Yes, our balance is 200. We have our account number here. And we performed two transactions, a deposit and a withdrawal. And these are the transaction IDs here. Now let's go to the transaction itself and let's see the last two transactions that was done, that was made. We have £300 deposits. The transaction type is 0 because I used enum. So enum object, and that is this 0 is mapped to deposits, while 1 is mapped to withdrawal. So here, this is the withdrawal transaction that was made, and that was withdrawal of 100. As you can see, we have it, and it's working. So I can now confidently, let's close the program. I can now confidently remove this. You see what DHI has helped us achieve? So we can see that the program.cs file is, shorter, looking, neater, because we have handled it by using DI. So it's going to be easier to test now, easier to scale, and that is the essence and the advantage of using DI. I hope you've learned something. Kindly like this video and click on the subscribe button, and don't forget to share the video to as many as you know would love to jump on this learning journey so that we can learn together. And thank you for being a part of this. I hope to see you soon in my next video. And please don't forget to comment on why do you think constructor injection is the most common injection method used and the most popular or widely used injection method. Put that in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.